The sun dipped low, bleeding orange and crimson across the jagged desert horizon, while a chill wind cut through the sagebrush, carrying the scent of dust and distant fire. The ranch stood silent on the edge of the plain, a weathered outpost of wood and stone, shadows stretching long across the corral. A broad-shouldered man, his hands scarred and calloused like old leather, approached a locked trunk that sat abandoned on the dirt-streaked floorboards of a small shed. Beside it, a young woman trembled, her eyes wide and glinting with moonlight, voice cracking as she whispered, "Please, don't open the trunk." The air hung heavy with the smell of hay, leather, and smoke, as if the desert itself were holding its breath. Her chest heaved, lungs burning from days of running, from nights spent hiding from memories that clawed at her. Her fingers clutched the frayed edges of her shawl, knuckles white, a futile shield against the past she could not escape. The rancher's hand hovered over the iron latch, hesitation flickering across his weathered face, a war waging silently between curiosity and conscience. From somewhere beyond the corral, a dog barked, faint yet sharp, slicing through the tension that clung to the air like heat over sun-baked soil. Time seemed to pause. Dust motes floated lazily in the waning light, carrying the scent of secrets long buried. With deliberate care, the rancher pulled the trunk open. A thin swirl of dust rose, filling the shed with silence and anticipation. The woman gasped, a sound sharp and fragile as glass. Inside, shadows shifted over objects dark and foreboding, hinting at truths neither of them were prepared to face. Past and present collided in that instant, painting their world in uncertainty. His hands trembled, lingering over the unknown, and the camera of imagination draws the audience into the raw promise of danger, heartbreak, and revelation. One decision would change everything, and neither could guess which path it would carve. Night had swallowed the ranch whole, leaving the land bathed in silver moonlight, where shadows stretched and quivered like living things. The wind carried the scent of sage and smoldering wood, whispering through the cracks of the weathered barn. By the flickering glow of a lantern, Anna huddled, shoulders drawn tight against the chill, eyes hollow from nights spent running. Memories clawed at her. Family lost in a cruel twist of fate, her father's farm reduced to ash, whispers of betrayal that had pushed her into the desert alone. Hunger and thirst had been constant companions. Fear, the shadow she could not shake. Each sound outside the cabin, a rustle of brush, a distant coyote's cry, tightened the coil of tension in her chest. Luke watched her quietly, leaning against the doorway, the lantern casting a warm halo on his worn face. Once a lawman, he had abandoned the badge after a tragedy that had cost him everything, leaving him with only the quiet solace of his land. Anna's presence cracked open old wounds he had hoped were sealed. Her fear mirrored the helplessness he knew too well, the longing to protect, the pull toward redemption. His jaw tightened as he weighed choices he had thought long buried. "They're after me. And whatever's in the trunk," Anna admitted, her voice trembling, fragile as glass. Luke felt a surge of protectiveness, but dread pressed down. He knew the trunk's secret ran deeper than either could guess. Outside, the wind moaned, carrying the faint echo of hooves over dry earth, a distant reminder that danger circled just beyond the horizon. Staying meant peril, fleeing offered no escape. Their fragile trust teetered on a knife's edge, ready to snap with the next gust of fate. The audience is left leaning forward, wondering what she carries, and how far Luke will go to shield it. Birds called tentatively from thorny mesquites, their songs fragile against the rising tension. Luke and Anna moved through the yard in near silence, repairing fences, checking the livestock, every gesture taut with unspoken fear. The windmill creaked, a loose gate rattled. Each sound echoed like the drumbeat of something waiting just beyond the horizon. Anna's fingers brushed the chain trunk in the corner, a mix of curiosity and dread pulling at her, as if it whispered the secrets she both feared and longed to face. From the ridge, a lone rider appeared, silhouetted against the rising sun, a shadow from the past cutting across the promise of morning. Luke's pulse quickened, danger sang through his veins, yet honor rooted him in place. Anna froze, eyes widening as recognition flickered. It's him," she whispered, voice tight with terror. The rider's gaze swept the ranch, unreadable, yet heavy with threat. No words could bridge the chasm of history between them, only the inevitability of confrontation. Luke retreated into the barn, weighing every choice. Morality pressed against survival, the metallic tang of tension thick in the air. Sun-baked earth mingled with the faint aroma of gunpowder from a rifle he kept ready, a silent sentinel in case mercy failed. Floorboards groaned under each cautious step, echoing the heartbeat of fear that matched Anna's own. The rider advanced, deliberate, the distance closing with each measured hoofbeat. Outside and within, past and present were poised to collide. Courage, sacrifice, and the weight of secrets would determine the outcome. The audience leans forward, heart caught in suspense. Will Luke face the threat head-on, or will the shadows of Anna's past consume them both? Thunder rolled over distant mountains, shaking the air, as a sudden storm swept across the plains. Rain pelted the tin roof with relentless rhythm, turning the world into a blur of gray and mud. The ranch felt smaller, trapped beneath the weight of fate, the wind whipping with intent. Luke and Anna crouched in the barn, drenched, hearts hammering against ribs that felt too tight. Outside, the rider emerged from the murky field, rifle in hand, eyes cold with grim determination. The trunk in the corner, silent until now, seemed to hum with tension, a fragile vessel of secrets about to shatter. Anna's voice trembled, breaking the roar of the storm. If they take it, everything ends. Luke's jaw clenched, the moral weight pressed down, memories of loss and regret colliding with the danger now before them. A struggle erupted, violent and chaotic. The trunk toppled, spilling its contents across the wet floor. Tattered letters, stolen coins, photographs yellowed with age. And there, tucked in the midst of it all, a small bundle revealed a shocking truth. Her younger brother, hidden away for safety from men who would exploit or kill him. The revelation struck Luke like lightning, binding their fates together with fear, responsibility, and an unspoken vow to protect. The storm's fury mirrored the chaos inside the barn, mud and blood mingling, the scent sharp and bitter. Luke's mind raced. Survival was no longer optional. Every choice carried weight, every heartbeat a test of courage. Outside, the rider drew closer, relentless as the thunder. The audience leans forward, hearts tight with tension. Can they escape the storm and the hunters closing in? Or will tragedy claim them despite their courage and sacrifice? Lightning split the sky, slicing the ranch in stark, jagged bursts of white, revealing mud-slicked boots, rifles glinting like silver knives, and the relentless rain turning the ground to treacherous sludge. Luke and Anna pressed themselves behind the barn's weathered beams, hearts hammering, breaths sharp with cold and tension. The riders had split, flanking the ranch from north and south, moving like shadows intent on erasing the safety the night had offered. Rain pelted their faces, clinging hair to foreheads, while every inhale tasted of iron and fear. Luke's hands trembled as he loaded his rifle, each motion weighted with past failures and the desperate responsibility of the present. Anna clutched her younger brother close, the bundle a heartbeat of fragile hope. "We can't let them take him," she whispered, teeth chattering but voice firm. The first shots cracked the storm, echoing like thunder, mud spattering, hooves kicking, the air thick with gunpowder and raw terror. Luke moved with honed precision, instincts sharpened by years of hardship, while Anna ducked, prayed and prayed again, her pulse a wild drum against the walls of her chest. The crescendo came as a rider burst into the barn, only to meet Luke's steely resolve, and a rifle discharge with both righteousness and desperation. Another lunge for the trunk, intercepted by Anna, courage overriding every trembling doubt. In the chaos, flickers of humanity shone. A rider paused, reminded of a child lost long ago. Luke faltered, recalling mercy once upheld by law. Blood and rain mingled on the floor, yet in the storm of violence, hope endured. When the last shot fell, silence blanketed the scene, heavy and profound. The audience feels the exhaustion and relief, senses the fragile triumph. The threat is quelled for now, but not entirely gone. Survival, love, and courage have been tested and proven. And as the storm rumbles on, hearts pound with one pressing question. What price will the dawn bring, and what shadows linger still? Dawn broke soft and pale, spilling muted gold across the battered ranch. The storm had passed, leaving slick mud, scattered debris, and the faint scent of wet earth mingling with sage. Luke and Anna stepped from the barn, limbs stiff, clothes soaked, hearts still racing from the night's chaos. Her younger brother slept soundly in Anna's arms, finally safe, while the remnants of fear and violence lay quiet beneath a sky that seemed to exhale a long, weary breath. They moved among the wreckage, tending wounds both visible and unseen. Luke's hands still trembled, but each touch carried the weight of redemption, the quiet pride of a man who had faced his past, stared into danger, and survived. Anna's face held exhaustion etched with relief, eyes glinting with cautious hope. She knew the road ahead would be long, each step a reminder of fragility and strength intertwined. Yet the bond forged in fire, in fear and sacrifice, anchored them both. Around them, the ranch stood battered but resilient, a testament to endurance, moral courage, and the stubborn will to survive in a world too often cruel. Anna met Luke's gaze, a moment heavy with unspoken words. "We made it," she whispered, voice raw but steady. Luke's nod was slow, deliberate, carrying more than acknowledgement. It carried promise, respect, and the quiet thrill of having protected what truly mattered. The wind stirred the tall grasses, carrying memory of tragedy, of loss, and the whisper of new beginnings. The audience lingers on this fragile calm, sensing the bittersweet triumph, justice tempered by mercy, courage tested and proven, and love, though fragile, surviving the storm. Life moves forward, shaped forever by choices, sacrifice, and the quiet heroism of ordinary people, leaving hearts full of sorrow, hope, and reflection as the screen fades to the pale glow of dawn.